Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Diaspora Network, the program where we celebrate Nigerians making remarkable strides around the world. I'm Teniola Oyetayo. On today's program, we're in the London Bureau of Islington, where we meet the Mayor, Councillor Roseline Ogunro. She speaks to us about her new role and reflects on a lifetime of community service. Well, before our conversation, let's take a look at what's making headlines across the global Nigerian community.
以包容开放的胸怀接纳外籍学子，让异国他乡变成温暖的第二故乡。
Nigerian master's graduate Nnabuike Chisom delivered their international students' keynote address in Mandarin during the 2026 graduation ceremony at Zhongnang University of Economics and Law in Wuhan, China.
那一刻，我彻底明白，所谓他乡变故乡，不只是因为一路的风景。
Chosen to represent the university's international graduating class, Chisom's speech went viral across social media, earning widespread praises from Nigerians who described the moment as a powerful display of excellence and cultural connection. In his address, Chisom described the opportunity as an absolute honor, adding that the graduation marked not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter. He also announced his transition into a PhD program to continue his research.
I do believe. 谢谢大家。
That same spirit of representing Nigeria with excellence was echoed thousands of miles away in Silicon Valley, where the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, addressed engineers, founders, investors, and technology leaders at the 2026 Black Engineering Week in San Jose, California. She urged Africans in the diaspora to embrace their role as a living bridge between Africa and global opportunities by investing their expertise, influence, and resources in the continent's development.
Africans and people of African descent all over the world, here you are, building companies, writing codes, moving capital, and moving doors from San Jose to London to Dubai, all over the world. Aren't you just amazing people? So I challenge you, all of you in this room, as Africans in the diaspora. There's so much you can do, and there's so much you will do. We count on you to do a lot of things. We want to engage more with you. And I'm not saying pack your bags and come home, but whatever you are the tech giants. Stretch a hand of friendship, a hand of support, a hand of capacity building, a hand of mentorship, a hand of raising one other young African talent that's probably wasting away. You'll be the bridge between Africa and every one of us here. So as we have this conversation, I want to leave here with a promise that we will all build that bridge, that will make a connection and make a difference for where we all come from. In Nigeria, we have what we call the Diaspora Day. July 25 every year, we get together and have this kind of conversations. We do investment summits. We're holding one in Canada, August 12 to 15. I'm inviting all of you to come together and talk about what more we can do for the African continent. So wherever you are, no matter how far a river flows, there's a saying that you can never cut off from your source. So Africa is your source, and we hope that you will bring that bridge to make the continent a better place.
On the sidelines of the conference, the NIDCOM boss also met with the supervisor of Santa Clara County, who expressed the county's readiness to explore partnerships with Nigerian cities, particularly in healthcare, as part of efforts to deepen mutually beneficial cooperation between both regions.
From broadcasting in Nigeria to community service and political leadership in Britain, Councillor Roseline Ogunro's journey spans several decades. She now serves as the Mayor of Islington, a role she describes as the honour of a lifetime. Madam Mayor, thank you so much for inviting us to this beautiful and historical building and speaking to us today. But of course, your story starts miles and miles away from here, being born in Delta State, the first of 7 children. How was that for you?
Yeah, do you know, if you're the first child of so many siblings, then it's like the pressure is on you to be good, to show good example, to help out, you know, with the other kids. So that was the life, but it was interesting. It set you up, you know, for leadership, actually.
And then, you know, your time, you ended up going into broadcasting. What first led you to that, and what are some of the most memorable moments for you during that period of your life?
Do you know what? My secondary school, Our Lady of Apostles Secondary School in Yaba, was a Catholic school with several Irish and English nuns. So you had to speak English and emulate the way English was spoken. And I must say that I loved reading aloud, you know. I would pick up newspapers, I would read aloud, I would listen to the radio and then emulate the newsreader, what they said after the time, like, it's 4 o'clock, this is Radio Nigeria, broadcasting from all NBC stations in the Federation. I would emulate how the newsreader said those things. And, you know, I went on doing that, not even knowing what was going to happen, that I was going to go into this profession. So I finished secondary school and I couldn't go straight into university because my father didn't have the means to, because we're 7 and the others had to go to secondary school. There's no free school anyway in Nigeria. So for want of something to do, my former music teacher, he used to come from the NBC, the then NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation. So after secondary school, I was doing bits and bobs and working in the library in the school. And he said to me, you have a good voice, you know, why don't you audition and do some small programs on radio until you find something better to do. So that's what happened. I went and auditioned and I started presenting music programs and presenting talks programs, and then was invited for full audition. So privileged, you know, and I must say it wasn't just luck, it was God even seeing that this person, this is what she's destined to do, if you know what I mean. So I did the full audition and I went through and started training as a trainee announcer in the staff training school. And after that, observed a few announcers, which is usual, and then went on the air to become a continuity announcer. And whilst I was doing that, it was just the males that were allowed to read the news at that time when I joined in 1973. Only males could broadcast the news after the BBC. It was modeled after the BBC, where just men could read the long news, not the news summaries. Yeah. The females could do the news summaries whilst they were on continuity, but they couldn't do the long news. So, and you had to look for a male reader. So if the rostered male reader didn't show up, then you had to look for a man to read the news. And then a few times it wasn't, you know, what they wanted to hear. So they auditioned the ladies. In fact, at one point, the director of program said to me, but why didn't you read the news yourself? But the policy was that women shouldn't read the news. So, you know, so I went and auditioned with 5 other women in broadcasting, and I was put through to read the news for the first time. And then 3 years into working on radio, of course, you must have heard about the coup d'etat, you know, the attempted coup. I was on early morning duty on the day, and wasn't what one was expected. 5:30 a.m. you come to work and you're working, and suddenly, you know, somebody comes into the office with some dressed in the in soldier's uniform with another army officer, and they're telling the people who were the studio managers who are there sat before you get into the studio itself, and they were saying to them, if there's any resistance from these people, shoot, you know, that sort of thing. So and they came in, and the major coup plotter was the one that came into the studio and demanded to use my microphone, you know, at gunpoint. So I stood up and gave up my microphone. And he said what he said, how the head of state had been killed and there was a curfew in the country and so on and so forth. And he asked me if I had military music, which I didn't have. And yeah, there was also a member of staff of Voice of Nigeria at the time. He was with them. They had been liaising with him, you know, apparently. So he had actually compiled some military music from the library. So as soon as I said I didn't have military music to play, he ran downstairs to the library and brought up a pile of military music, which I played then after the coup plotter had spoken. So how he escaped is what I heard after, you know. But what happened then was that the army that arrived started shooting straight away. And the next thing I could hear was, you know, gunshots, and I thought it was the building being razed. The whole place was shaking. Lagos was in turmoil at that time. We didn't know. We were in an airtight studio. Yeah. So I had 2 studio managers, you know, before this continuity studio. So they were standing there with their hands raised, you know, when we started seeing a shift in the building. And I said to them, come in. I had stopped the music and I said to them, come in, they're shooting at this studio, thinking that this guy was still there. You understand? So they came in and we ducked under the console, and we felt safe for a while. And the bullets actually did come in to the studios, and I picked up a few. First time of seeing bullets, yeah. So and then when the shooting seemed to subside, we decided, I said to them, we can't stay in the studio. This studio is being shot at. So I led them out. And when we went out, the shooting started again. It was as if they thought, and I was wearing an army green dress that day, just as this is quite close to it again today. So we ran back, but I said to them, we can't go back into this studio. We started knocking on the doors, and the doors were all shut. The entire building had been evacuated, and we had been left in the studio, in the commotion anyway. So, and then I said to them, let's go, let these soldiers see that we're civilians. So we had our hands all raised, and we came out to where the ones surrounding the building could see us. And then we heard somebody say, hold fire, civilians. So, so we were able to be led down to where all members of staff had been evacuated to. And they were all lying on the floor, lying on the ground, you know, in a swampy sandfield area of the broadcasting house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to be part of such a key moment in history for the
Yeah.
country, what kind of impression did that leave on you going forward?
It was very traumatic, but I was quite calm. I was quite calm. I just said, you know, when you see someone who's carrying a gun, then you have to do as they say. It's like encountering armed robbers. You do as they say and save your life. That's it. But it was really, really scary. Yeah. Because I had to go back, of course, when everything had died down. Went back to the studio and, you know, went on as if nothing happened. You know, talked sweet things to people and played, you know, not military music this time, but music to calm people down, you know, until close down. I didn't even remember not having breakfast or lunch or dinner on the day.
This doesn't seem to be important in that moment, does it? And when did you eventually leave broadcasting? I know you moved to the UK.
I retired voluntarily. At the time, you could retire voluntarily if you've done 15 years. Okay. So I'd done 15 years. And I had a sick child. My first son was always ill, and I thought, oh, it was time to take time to actually care for him, you know. So I retired after 15 years, and started doing freelance things, you know, like presenting a program on television, but you know, freelancing. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Bimbo Oloyede.
Yes.
Yeah, we teamed up together and we were presenting a program called Crystal, also with Tenny Aofiyebi and Joan Oduaya, may her soul rest in peace. She passed as well. So all four of us were doing what you know, a women's kind of program, you know, trying to encourage and empower women to be the best that they could for themselves and for their families, you know, seeing that women, you know, couldn't do certain things at the time. Yeah, so.
Thanks for staying with us on the program. We continue our conversation with the Mayor of Islington on community service and her advice for others.
What led me to the UK was that my husband had returned to the UK, and my kids, you know, came a year before me. You know, I waited till they finished secondary school, and they wanted to come here anyway. They didn't want to continue back home. So I came to be with my family. And so that's what brought me to the UK.
Yeah. And what was that move like for you? Coming from a different environment, facing new challenges, a new environment, what was that like for you?
Because I said I'd retired voluntarily in Nigeria. I didn't expect to do anything else here, but, you know, just...
Yeah, you ended up entering the politics.
Yeah. So I came, and you know, it was getting boring, not doing anything. So I decided to find part-time work, which I did quite quickly because you looked at the papers, job adverts, you know. So I said, oh, and there was something that caught my fancy, which was ARTI, and you know, an organization that showcased. Concerts, the theatre, what else was there? Theatre, concerts, and, you know, it was an art organization, the Barbican in London, yeah. So they were advertising for customer service assistants. So I applied and got in there and worked for about six years there, part-time. And whilst I was doing that job, the managing director of the London Symphony Orchestra actually saw me on doors, because we used to, you know, welcome clients who were coming or to watch either concerts or to watch drama and stuff like that. So she saw me and she said to me, you know, you're pleasant, you're this, you know, would you like to work with the LSO? And the LSO office was based within the Barbican Centre. Right. So, well, I went and was covering for a lady who was on maternity leave to start with. And then she decided to leave anyway. So I got the full-time job at the London Symphony Orchestra in the marketing department. But what it was, you know, I was front of house and doing all the office work and talking to the customers and visitors and doing the office bits, yeah.
And music has always been a really important part of your life.
Yes.
What does creativity mean to you? And just talk to us about finding your voice with music as well.
Yeah, music started in secondary school when that music director used to come over. I was in the choir, I was in the school choir, and we did lots of TV programs, Young Talent, forgotten the names of the other programs that we took part in, but my school used to be invited to the NTA. Yeah, and we used to go sing, yeah, so the singing has been, you know, as far back then to in the 70s as, and then I came here, and of course I did those two, I was doing that and doing commercial jingles as well. Yeah, whilst I was working on the radio, I used to also do singing and voiceovers for radio and television. And the producer who used to produce the jingle said to me, why waste your voice on just doing jingles? Yeah, So we could put your voice on vinyl. That was what prompted those albums that you saw.
Yeah.
As you say, you saw on
yes.
YouTube.
Yeah, and now you're the mayor of Islington.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you as a Nigerian-born woman?
Well, it means a lot to me. It's a privilege and an honor to be allowed to do, what I'm doing now. And as I said, leadership started from, being that first of 7. And then when I arrived here, I was, that sense of volunteering, helping people to do stuff, was still there. So whilst I was waiting to find a job, I was volunteering. I was doing volunteering with elderly people. I was volunteering with, I volunteered also with a lady who had substance dependence. I trained for it though. You train for, even the volunteering, you have to train for them. So I trained and I was volunteering with elderly people. I loved them, did all sorts of different things with them. Like I was volunteering with a guy who had become blind. He was a surgeon, a medical doctor. But his kids had gone so far away, that they were not there for him. So I would do his bills. I would take him to his hospital appointments, stuff like that, So yeah. So from volunteering with these ones, then somebody introduced me to the Citizens Advice and said I could do that as well. In between studying. There's so many things that in between studying and working, I also was volunteering for Citizens Advice. So when I left the London Symphony Orchestra, that was something to do. I retired from the London Symphony Orchestra and then I went volunteering, still with with Citizens Advice. And from volunteering, I got a full-time job, to which I said, no, it's going to have to be part-time. Yeah, because I needed time to do other stuff as well. So that's how I ended up here, Citizens Advice in Islington. And it's pretty much the same as being a councillor as well. Yes. I joined politics in 2015, just to give back to my community and still be able to help people. Because I think that's what I was born to do. It's in my blood to see people less privileged, to see people like me who started off, really with humble beginnings, and encourage them to be the best that they can.
And I want to ask what advice you would give other Nigerians watching this that want to make some sort of impact in different ways. What advice would you give them, especially those starting in a new environment?
They should just go in there, look at what's there, what's available, and I know that, work everywhere is very difficult. It's not just in Nigeria that, you can't find work. You finish university, you can't find work. But there are 1,000,001 things that you can do. You can, just go in there, see what's available, and start something. No matter how small it is, just start from somewhere. We know that even here there's no job. Start from somewhere. There's not enough work, is what I'm saying. Start something small. Like the charities we're talking about, it's people who started. I went to a garden where a woman, an old train station was abandoned train station, and she started gardening. She got some volunteers together, and I do hope that our young people back home, and even elderly people who have nothing else to do, who've retired, could just find something to volunteer to do. Meet people, you interact, you network, and then you're able to help each other, to fill in the gaps that exist.
Before I let you go, what's one thing that you say keeps you going? One important thing that you hold dear to you that you say in times of difficulties or that encourages you to keep going?
Is that man upstairs. He's been so good. And, once you have that faith, it takes you everywhere. Know that there's somebody watching over you. watching over you, walking with you, showing you that way to go. He already knows what you'll become, and that I believe in that a lot. That, you know, it's what you be is already written. And that's my middle name, actually. My middle name in Igbo is Ifechukwude, and it's a long sentence. You know how back home, you know, you're given a name. Yes. That name means quite a lot. Exactly. So my name translated is Ifechukwude. Yeah? Ade Kwenficha. Yeah, translated, it means that what God has written cannot be erased. So he knows you well, he knows where you're going. So I'm very, very grateful to God for inspiring my father to give me that name, you know. So it's already written what you will be, you know, just move towards it. Just heed the hints, you know, just heed that prompting to go towards what you have, what's in store for you.
Amazing, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Diaspora Network. It's definitely been an interesting conversation, and you bring through so much.
I have been through so much, and we can't do it in 1 hour.
And that brings us to the end of this week's edition of Diaspora Network. To watch this and previous episodes celebrating Nigerians around the world, visit channelstv.com or our YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Teniola Oyetayo. Bye for now.